Hey everybody, welcome back to my craft room. Today we're going to be working on a Hawaiian themed project using Scrap Diva Designs door mini album set. And this is just a super cute project. The doors open up to reveal a sweet Hawaiian scene. Got lots of elements going on in this project here, so we're going to tackle it in 3 parts. So I'm going to show you the base, and then we'll work on the doors, the middle section, and then we'll do the back section. Super cute. I love how it turned out. So like I said, we're going to be using the Scrap Diva Design Door Mini Album. But first I want to show you, this is the paper from the flea market, Simple Stories. And it was this pattern here. As soon as I saw that, I knew I wanted to do a project, a Hawaiian themed project with it. I just love it. And also, there is a beach water page here from Just Beachy that I'm using. And basically what I did is I cut it out of the base, which I'll show you in a second. And then I used one of my dies to create kind of like a wave on that paper there. Okay. So that's that. So the dies that I'm using from the Scrap Diva Designs Door Mini Album. This is the base here. This creates, it cuts out 2 separate pieces. So it'll cut out this side of the door and then this side of the door. And then you have this outer piece here, which is the base. And then the inner piece is the decorative piece. And then you also have, these are the sides. So you want to cut 2 of these. And then again, you have the inner die for the panels. So the first part of this project is going to just be assembling the base. So I just took a nice rich brown cardstock here. I cut 2 of the bases. And then I cut 2 of the panel pieces, the decorative pieces. Here we go. I ran out of paper, so we have a little bit of a lip there, but it's absolutely fine. You'll see on my original project, I was able to fill up the whole side with that gorgeous pattern paper there. All right, so let's get these sides assembled. We have lots of elements today, so I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can. So we're just going to add our little panels on. Just make sure it's lined up nicely. And this couldn't be easier to assemble as this box. So you can make it into a gift bag, a dimensional box like I'm going to show you today. But the oval shape is actually perfect for lots of things. So you can make gorgeous cards out of them. Scrap Diva Designs always includes so many dies that will help you make any kind of project work perfectly. Okay, the next part that I'm going to show you is this inner part here. Let's see how I can show you here. Okay, so we open the box, and then you'll see that this piece here is resting on, it's kind of like an L. And I'm going to show you how we create that. So that is actually, this is the Scrap Diva Designs card making and box making dies. And I used number 3 here, and I cut it out twice in brown cardstock so it matches. So you'll see it cuts it out here. And what happens when you score it is it actually creates like an L shape. So we're going to use that to kind of create a little shelf so we can put our middle section on. So you'll see it doesn't line up perfectly, but that's okay, because all you have to do is just try to center it. Get your scissors and then just trim it to fit. And we have 2 of them, so we're going to want to do that twice. All right, trim that off. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere that right away. And we want them to line up nicely. So just kind of line these two up together. And if you put it in like an L shape here with the flat side down, just try to center it. Okay, and then we're just going to put glue on one side. And again, just try to get it in the center as best you can. And because you want both sides to kind of line up, you want to just kind of put them next to each other. And then just glue this side on. Just trying to match it up as best you can with this side. Okay. So now you have a little lip here. That's going to hold our second base. Okay. So now, before we assemble and put these little parts together, we need our base. I'm sorry, this is the base, and then this is the next one. You'll see when you put it on here that it lines up with a nice edge around. So this is just, I was struggling with the shading, so this is just a printable cloud piece of paper that I had. So I wanted to use that. And then, like I said, from the album, or from the paper stack, I picked out this little beach area here. And then I die cut the little wave. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up about 3/4 of the way. Okay. So I'm going to glue this piece onto here, because I want the blue sky, but then I also want you to see the water and the beach, because we're going to have our hula dancer dancing on the beach. Okay, so we'll just line that up, like I said, 3/4 of the way. Stick that down, and of course I did a lot of extra glue I didn't need. Okay, so once this is glued down, we have a lot of excess, so we're just gonna cut that off. Okay. All right. So now you just have the blue sky and the beach. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to glue our sides on now. Okay, so you have the option of gluing this onto the back like this, and then putting another pattern on this side, or you can glue it on the inside here like this, which is what I'm going to do, because I'm going to put this on top and it's going to cover it up. So that's absolutely fine. So let's put some glue, and then just make sure if your pattern paper goes a certain way, that you put it the right way. And sometimes I find it easier to flip. So I'll just flip it and line this up. And I love how the rich brown goes perfectly with these mountains in the back. So pretty. Okay, we're gonna put the other side on. I'm gonna do the same thing. There you go. And I have a teeny bit of this piece sticking out, so I'm just going to trim that real quick. Okay, and now we can glue our base into place. And at first, I struggled so much finding the cloud paper. And when you look when you're looking at it right now, it looks kind of crazy. It doesn't look great. But once we start adding all of the other elements, it really starts to come together. So just double check, make sure that's lined up as nicely as possible. Get that stuck down. Okay. So now we have our base set up. Perfect. Okay. So the next part, we have these two. So these again are the inner panels. Okay, this the decorative panel part. Okay, so I cut this out 2 times. One in the chocolate brown again, and one in the decorative Hawaiian paper. Okay, so now you have this inner panel piece. You have this inner panel piece, but it does not include another one to cut out this shape here. So for that, I used the Scrap Diva Designs banner box dies. Okay, and these are the dies from that set. So the banner box dies comes with this heart, it comes with this inner piece, and then this flat piece. So the one we're going to use is the second one, which is this one here, which is also cool because it's going to give us it fits perfectly. So basically, when I cut this item out, sorry, I just want to show you real quick. Sorry about that. So you cut this base, and then you just eyeball this one here, and then you run it through your machine, okay? But then it's going to still have a little bit of extra here. So when you're done running that through once, then you want to line up your die again, shift it down, and then cut out the rest. Okay? So that's how I got that. The banner set is an awesome die. So you definitely want to try to pick that up if you can. Okay, so the reason I cut 2 pieces is because it's going to be in the middle, and I don't want it to be, one of them is like, it's super flimsy. So we just want to give it a little bit of substance. Now when I cut the middle out of these pieces, it's kind of hard. It was kind of hard for me to get a perfect cut. So these probably won't be lining up perfectly, but you can barely see it. So it doesn't bother me too much. Okay. But yeah, once we put this in place, this extra piece is really going to make it sturdier. So again, it's not going to line up perfectly. So when I put it down, I'm going to focus mostly on the top to make sure at least the top lines up, the dome part. Because the bottom, you're really not going to look at the bottom as much. And using liquid glue is the best here because you have a little bit of wiggle room here. So I'm getting my table a little messy. Okay. Okay, so this piece did not come out the best, but I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, so again, it's a little on the flimsy side. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a block on it and let it just kind of flatten out a little bit. Hopefully that's good. Okay, so that's our base done. So the next thing we're going to work on is the door. So we'll put our main base aside for a second. So the door, like I said, cuts out in 2 different sections. Okay, cuts out in 2 different sections. Okay, and I wanted a little bit of dimension on here. So I used, sorry, I'm a little all over the place today. Okay. Got a little piece of paper in there. This is a Gemini, and it's kind of, I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't know the name of it. But it's got kind of a crosshatch look to it. So I ran the doors through, and I got such a cute little pattern. All right, so acetate will be the death of me. I struggle so much. I have to, I saw on another video where someone posted some acetate that had double backing on it, front and the back. And I think I'm going to have to pick that up because for some reason this acetate that I have is super scratched. And I used alcohol and I used everything and I cannot get it clean. I have so many dots on it. It drives me insane. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put these decorative pieces on here. And I used double-sided tape to adhere the acetate on because I give up using liquid glue on acetate. Okay, so let me just put that on there. We'll just have a little extra support on the door. Okay, so you can see my double-sided tape there. And then you definitely want to cut another one so you don't really see the tape. Okay, so let's, oh no, I don't want to glue those on yet. I almost did it again. Okay, so let me, put this one on top of here. And then we need to add a little element to the door before we put the back on. Okay, so we're going to do this. And I'm getting a lot of paper fibers that keep showing up here. Okay, so those are our windows, our doors with our acetate. Okay, so the next step is from the Flamingo Scrap Diva Designs Flamingo Embellishment Set. We are going to use these leaves. Okay, you get 2 of them, so that's awesome. So I ran them through and I made 10 of these. And then you get the little flower and this little flower here. And I'll show you the flowers in a second. But we are going to take our leaves and we're going to glue 4 of them to each side. Okay, so we're going to glue these to the middle. So actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some double-sided tape on this bottom here just to help hold the leaves in place so I don't have to get glue all over my acetate again. So this is a scrapbook Got.com double-sided tape. Comes in all different sizes. Perfect for projects like these. Okay, so we're just gonna try to, okay, so the leaves are facing different directions. So this one goes this way. This one goes the other way. Oy. That one goes that way. Okay. And then I think I need, nope, nope. One more going this way. So the tips going this way and these tips are going this way. So the ones facing this way, I'm going to put on this side. And just try to kind of stagger them in a way where they kind of look natural. Yeah, this is much easier. This is much easier than liquid glue. That's a good call. Okay. There we go. Just so we have a little greenage. All right. And then we'll do the same for the other side. Oh my goodness, this acetate. Okay. All right, so we have 3 and the last one. And then, you could go in and then kind of glue them together, but I don't think it's necessary because now we're going to glue these onto here. And I already put double-sided tape just to make this go a little bit faster. Definitely much easier. Well, today I'm filming on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. All kids, including animals, apply. We love our animals in this house. Okay. And just line that up the best you can. There we go. And then we really have some good, substantial doors. And then we'll be gluing that onto this side. Okay, let's get this other door done. This would be a nice gift for someone going out of town, going on vacation, someone going on a honeymoon, someone who likes the idea of travel but can't fathom the idea of being on a plane to Hawaii for that long. From what I hear, it's a super long flight. I live in Chicago here, so that would be very far for me. I'd say 4 to 6 hours on a plane is probably my max. Because I can't sleep very well on planes. Always kind of need to know what's going on. So that would be a long time to stay up. All right. Okay, phew. All done. Okay, so then the other thing I did, okay, we're going to go to the flowers now. Look at how cute these flowers are. They're so adorable. So this middle section here, this is the outer flower. So I did this in a nice, it's kind of a pinky coral. And then the inside flower is kind of like a soft peach. And I just kind of bent these. And then I did try to shape these a little bit, just to give it a little dimension. And then on this here are the little leaves. So I just added 2 little leaves. And I thought, how adorable would it be to have floral door openers? So let's put those on. And I just kind of have the leaf part coming out of this corner here, just so it kind of looks a little neater. All right, and then we're going to put this other door on. There we go. Again, I'm using kind of the leaf to line up my flower. And then when it's on and when it's dry, you can kind of mess with your flowers a little bit and lift them up. How cute. I'm super happy with how that came out. Those are exactly the colors that I was looking for. Okay, and I cut 2 extra leaves here. So those are just going to go on the inside. When I was creating this, I thought it was needed a little something else. So I'm just putting those in the corner on the inside. All right, easy. And then I thought that's a little plain. So I cut out from the back of one of my papers. This is the back of the one with the sand. And there are those little leaves. So I just fussy cut 2 of those out. I'm going to put those in these corners here. I think it's super cute. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold, please. Don't do that yet. Getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Okay. Now, we're going to move on to the Hero Arts. And this is the Luau Accessories. And these are some of the dies from that set. I'm just going to show you as I use them. So this is the little tiki torch. So I cut that out 2 times in brown. And then that's this little tiki torch here. And then I sandwiched a piece of orange. I made it very bright because it's Hawaiian, so I wanted it to be nice and bright. So I sandwiched it in between so that the layer would be a little bit thicker. And then I'll just go ahead and glue these onto the sides of the doors. Just think bright colors are super fun for this one. Okay, so here's the other one. Okay, and then this next part is super optional because it is a very fussy thing. But I feel like it really helps. This creepy looking animal thing here. Let me show you. Okay, so Scrap Diva Designs has a bow set, and this is the mini layer bows. And on this set is this teeny little die right here. That is the die that I used to cut out all of these little line looking things. Oh, nice. And I just flung them all over the place. And I really liked it because I wanted to create a little bit of accent to the door, like it's a handmade door. I'm just going to put 2 on to show you. But these fit perfectly. And just make little X's with them. But if you don't want to do this step, that's understandable. It's fiddly even for me, who normally has a lot of patience when I'm crafting. Because it's all about the details. And if it makes it look better, I'm willing to do the work for it. So look at how cute that is now. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more. In my example though here, I'll show you. I did 2 down here. I did 1 on either side of here, and then I did 2 on the top. But again, it's a super fiddly process. So if you want to use a marker instead, that would work. If you have another kind of die, that would work. Absolutely perfect. So I am not going to bore you doing all of these. Okay. But I could not, I was checking my stash for something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what could I use? I was gonna try to find an alphabet that had an X that was super small, and that would also work. But I just happened to see that one, and I said, oh my gosh, it's perfect. It's perfect for what I wanted it for. So now we can put our little leaves on there to add a teeny bit more fun detail. Yeah, I'm super happy with the way it turned out. Okay, so our doors are finished. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, this has been sitting for a little while. It should be good to go. It's definitely a lot more firm. So we're going to go ahead and just glue one side. So you could just put the glue on here. And the reason we're doing one side is we want to be able to access everything until the very last minute, the inside, and we don't want to have trouble getting things in. And just make sure that you're using the bottom as your guide. Got a little bit more up on top that I want to get. Okay. I think I needed one more cup of coffee today. I'm a little off my game here. Okay. So now you'll see if it rests loosely on the other side that now we have our little frame. So now it's starting to look a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to bring in one of our hula girls here. And I do have 2 of them, and I already colored this one in with my markers, and I'll show you how to color in the other one. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just get her glued into place. And you want to make sure, let's put some glue kind of on like the side of her, the side, because that's what's going to pick up, and I'm not sure how much it's going to pick up. So just putting them on the side. And then you want to take your door. When I was doing my first one, I just glued her on where I thought it was going to work. And then when I put the door on, her face got cut off. So I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So just make sure when you put her in that her face comes through the middle and doesn't get cut off. And I just put a little glue on the side. So she's just going to kind of be floating around there. But you can see her perfectly, how she nestles nicely in there. Okay, so she's all done. All right, now what I want to do is I want to add, using wet cement, I used, this is the Gorgeous Stamp set from Hero Arts. Okay, so I used the Hula Girl, the second Hula Girl. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, here's the little island off in the back. So I cut the island in, here we go, wet cement. And it's kind of on a taupe colored paper. And we're just going to put that kind of covering up the seam right here. It's just going to be a little island in the back. And I did use the coordinating die set to cut out the mountain. So we're just going to put that there. And then our backs will start to make sure it's a little. Okay, so that was wet cement. Then what I did is I cut 3 clouds. One cloud I'm going to just have kind of coming off of the side, not completely. Just out of white. I didn't do anything special with the clouds here. But they're a realistic cloud shape. I love them. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 on this side. So we'll just put 1 up here. And then I'm going to overlap the second one. Look at how cute. Okay, so now before we get too far, this set comes with these little birds. So I just put the birds on one of my well-loved stamping blocks, and I'm going to use my Gina K amalgam ink to just stamp these birds in the background. And I'm going to do them just kind of slightly on an angle. How cute is that? It's the simplest thing, but it's so adorable. Okay. Next up, I have pumpkin pie. And again, going back to the stamp set, we have seashells, or a seashell. So I just used, this little seashell, and I just put a couple down here. I just put a couple there, and one more down here. So our scene is starting to come to life a little bit. Cute. Okay, next up, we have the sun, and I'm pulling out lemon yellow and butter bar. And again, I'm going to use my finger dauber. And I'm just going to go over the entire sun with lemon yellow. I like my images super rich. Okay. Then I'm going to go in with butter bar. This is like my 3rd video, maybe using butter bar. And then I'm just going to shade the top. I don't know what sun this is. Is it the end of the day? Is it sunset? Is it the morning? I don't know. I just know it looks pretty and tropical. Again, I'm not a beach person. Like, I'll sit on the beach, get my feet wet, but not one of my favorite things. There. I'm just not as much of an outdoor person, which I know is bad. But okay, let me clean this up real quick. Okay. Just like that. Gorgeous sun. Okay, so we're going to put this in the back. There we go. And now you can see the little sunset starting to form. How cute is that? I love it. Okay. Next we have, actually, let's go to our little turtle. This is a cute little turtle. And here's the die. And all I did for the turtle is I cut it out in 2 different greens. A darker green and then a little bit of a lighter green for his shell. And we're just going to glue him kind of like he's in the water, kind of like he's on the beach a little bit. He's so fun. He is so fun. He's so cute. There we go. Okay. And next we have the palm tree. So here's the palm tree here. So for the palm tree, what I did is I used, where are my colors here? I actually used pine. And when I used the stamp on my Misty, I just patted the stamp on the green, stamped it, and then I used Cup of Joe to just kind of stamp the bottom base here. Let me get my lid on my glue bottle here before my glue dries out. Okay. And then I'm just going to take, this is the Spectrum Noir. It's a tricolor and it's got grass, leaf green, and lime green. So I did go in with a darker, but I'm just going to add the middle just to kind of give it a little more color. It'll just brighten it up a teeny bit. This is an optional step. Okay. Just gives it a little bit more contrast. And then I'm going to take, this is my Copic E35 and my Copic E29. And I'm just going to do a few flicks on the tree trunk. Just to see if I can give it a little more dimension, a little more character. And then this is the lighter shade that I'm going to use to just kind of blend those colors in. There we go. And we want to make it a little bit darker, so we'll go in again with our marker, the E29. Just to give it a little something. Okay, and then what I did, because I gotta have a little something. Those coconuts they're kind of blending in here, and they were a little too fiddly for me to try to stamp separately. So I'm just gonna put some dots where the coconuts should be. And I cut out using one of my small hole punches, and I just cut out some coconuts in gold. Gives it a little bit of shine. Okay. And then we can go ahead and glue our palm tree in place. And our placement for our palm tree will be just kind of off to the side, because we want to make sure that we leave enough space for our hula dancer. I really appreciate vintage. Vintage is for sure my style. It makes me so happy. So when I saw this set, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I have to play with it. Oopsies. Oopsies, move my coconuts. There we go. So we want our palm tree to be under the birds. We don't want to lose our birds. Off to the side, we got our little seashell right next to our tree, which is exactly what I wanted. Coming together. Okay. So next up, we're going to work on our gorgeous little hula dancer. How cute is she? Okay. So for her, we are going to use, let's see, which one do we start with? This one. It's my Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend, and this is the Gold Brown Extend, and I'm going to be using the middle shade, the GB86, and this is the Tri-Blend Fair Skin Blend, and I'm going to be using Mid. Okay, so I'm going to use just a teeny bit of the Mid that comes around the side of her face. Side of her face, and then down her neck there. And then we'll just blend it out. Gives her a nice shadow. A nice shadow and tanned look. And then we'll do her arm. One thing at a time. And I actually had done my project probably a week and a half ago. But I have a senior with lots of senior high school things, and I haven't been able to kind of come back and write up my supplies and things like that. So I had to play around with the skin color that I used the first time that I loved so much. So my original one might be slightly different than this one, but I think it's pretty close. And then we're just blending it out. She's She's got a nice soft glow to her. And then we'll come down to her knee. And the back of her foot. I just think it's so pretty. These images are just gorgeous. And just to make sure she's got enough shading, I'll just go over and do it one more time. She's definitely having fun on the beach. Unlike me, she's definitely an outdoor person. There we go. Okay, go back to her leg. And blend it out. She looks exactly the way I wanted her to look. So pretty. Okay, we're going to go back to our Spectrum Noir tricolor in the grass and the leaf green and lime green. And I'm actually going to paint her skirt with the lime green completely at first. Okay, then I'm going to go in with the mid green, or the leaf green, and then I'm gonna add flicks. Flicks up, flicks down. And then you can go back in and just blend it in. Maybe just a little more flicking. And one more blend. Cute. Okay, so now for her pretty flower. This is one of my favorite markers, my tricolor Spectrum Noir. Tricolor gives you 3 different colors that create a beautiful ombre kind of effect. So I'm going to start with her flower, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the pink, which is the first color. Then I'm going to go in with the next color. And then the last color. And then I'll go back in with the pink just to add a little bit more. And a little bit more orange. Okay. And then for her little middle, I'm just going to go in with the pink. and then come in with the orange. It creates a soft, you could see it's like not pink and it's not orange. It's super cute. And then for the top, I'm going to go in with the orange. And then the lighter orange. She's a beaut. Isn't she beautiful? Okay. Now, I wanted to pop her up in the center, but I didn't want you to have to watch me put all of the sticky buds on there. So I just did another one, and I'll glue her onto there. And this is really starting to come together. So now she's going to be front and center. Definitely our focal point. Okay. So again, what we want to make sure is we check our door. She needs to be in the sand. Well, she doesn't have to be. Yikes. Okay, I think she needs to come down a teeny bit more. Sorry. This definitely gets a little tricky here. I don't have enough fingers. Okay. So you can see her through the door. That's good. All right. So she is in place. Okay. Next piece before we get our doors added on there. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the sun. I used the roller skate album from Scrap Diva Designs, and this is actually this center die right here. Okay. So next in the die set, we have two more pieces, and again, this is from the Luau Accessories from Hero Arts, and we have the pineapple, and we have the guitar. So all I did for the guitar is I cut it twice out of the chocolate brown just to make it a little sturdier, because it's going to go like right here on the side, and just added the pop of gold. So I did that. And then for the pineapple, I cut one in green and one in white. So we're just going to, well, before we snip it, we're just going to use, again, our lemon yellow and our butter bar. So the lemon yellow, again, we're going to do what we did with the sun and just add the lemon yellow everywhere on here. And then the butter bar. Just kind of like on the side, and then kind of swoop it like so it's not all over. It's more like a shadow, like a backwards L, just to give it a little something. Okay. And then we're going to cut this white base off. We're just going to like go around, follow the shape of the pineapple. And then we'll glue this onto the green. Very cute. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to glue the pineapple to the guitar. And now that most of our back is ready, we can go ahead and glue this middle. We can glue this middle in place. So let me get this guitar on here. This time I'm just going to put glue on this base part. And you got to kind of use your fingers to push. So it butts up against here. And then pinch. Okay, now before we adhere our pineapple and our items to our middle section, got a piece of glue back there. I cut another piece of this color brown, and then I took the die and then I just cut again so that we can just put an arch here. And then just get your scissors. I wanted the look of like the tiki hut. Like the top of a tiki hut. And if you have the scissors that cut like the fringy look, that's fine. But you could just use your scissors like this and just cut a bunch of lines here. Doesn't take too long. Different sizes, doesn't matter. Okay, and don't go too far onto this edge because you want to make sure that the glue will adhere to the sides without being too flimsy. And then when we're done with this, before we glue it on, let's just try to fluff up the fringe a little bit. Okay. So just kind of fluff it up a little. Okay. And then we can glue this onto our base. This is the middle base. Again, we want to make sure that the top is the straightest part. And the sides, you're not going to see it as much, so it doesn't really matter. Look how cute. Oh my gosh. That was like the a last minute addition. I'm like, I gotta have some of that. I don't know what you would call it. But I'm like, I gotta have some of that on there, but where do I put it? Okay, I'm gonna blow real quick because I have a lot of glue on my box. There we go. Okay, and now we can glue our little pineapple and our guitar onto the side. All right, we're moving along. I thought this was going to take longer, so I'm happy that we're doing okay for time. Okay, so next, I cut this paradise. Okay. I'm sorry, I stamped paradise out of my Stampin' Up! Chocolate chip. I've had this pad for a million years at least. But look at how nice and crisp it's stamped onto this craft cardstock. And then to cut this out, I used the Scrap Diva Designs pin flags, and I used this one here. And although I like it, when I was trying to put it where I wanted it to be, it was sticking out a little bit too much and getting into her, into the hula girl. So I just took my corner rounder and then I kind of just took the sharpness off of it. Sorry, oh my gosh, was I out of frame that whole time? One side, then you have to flip it, and then do this side, flip it, and do this side. Cute. Okay, now the final little cutie thing that we were going to put together here, it's super teeny, but it is fantastic. It's a little tropical drink, and it cuts out in one piece. So I cut it out in white because I'm going to just use my markers to color it real quick. So for the coconut, I used, going back to my E29 Copic, and I'm just tracing along the middle and then the side. And then I'm going in with the E35 all over. Just blending it out. And then one more time. And then blending out. Get a little richer brown. Cute. For the straw, I'm using my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir in the mid. Doesn't really matter, but, and then just going over the straw. How cute. And for our little umbrella, I'm going with back to my tricolor and my lightest one. I'm going to color in this little orange slice. And then for the little umbrella, going back to my tricolor, and I'm going to use this lime green again for the umbrella part. And then the darkest green for the umbrella, for the little umbrella holder or base. Okay, and then we're just going to glue this coconut on top of our paradise sign. Just kind of in the middle so you can see it. Okay, now we are going to glue our doors on now. And I'm just going to take some of the scrapbook.com tape and just try to get off some of this dust and particles from my door, my acetate on my door. It's definitely better than my first one because the first one I used the liquid glue and yeah, I had glue too many places. Okay. So now we are going to, these doors glue on perfectly on these sides here. So I'm just going to put the glue on the base because I feel like that'll be easier. Again, you want to make sure that it lines up nicely on the bottom. There we go. And as much as I want it to be perfectly straight with the outer, like this part, I kind of don't want to see the door come through here. So I'm going to try to get it as best I can. Okay, let's get this other side on. Oh my gosh, I love how this turned out. This would be a nice wedding card for someone who's going to Hawaii on their honeymoon. Or someone graduating, if you're able to afford to send them away to a nice warm tropical place. Look at how cute. Okay. And then the last thing we need to do is put our paradise in. Okay, but we need to make sure that when we line it up, that it fits nicely in the window. Because I want to be able to see it perfectly. Yikes. So let me get it in here where I want it. I want to see every little bit of that drink. So that's it. Open it up. Your own personal little paradise. I think my girl might need to move over a teeny bit. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see. You know what? I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay. There we go. I made a little bit of a mess today. I was a little bit all over the place. I apologize, but I'm still happy with the results. I hope you'll give it a try. And, you know, again, you don't have to do like every single detail. You can just do the parts that inspire you. Use the dies or stamps that you have to create something. And I did forget to do something as usual. Let me put a little bit of white gel pen here on my little orange slice. And then just some for the sign here. There we go. Just to give it a little something. Oop, I missed my coconut. There we go. Again, just something super fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long for you. And if you have any questions or anything, please let me know in the comments. Please consider liking and sharing and subscribing if you're not a subscriber already. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you next time.